All of that is said, we're going to welcome Alexandria, who goes by Alex, Simon with APS Solutions.
Hi everyone, my name is Alexandria and I work for APS Solutions, which is located here in Sedalia at the Lamy building. And what we do is we staff people all over the United States, and we're starting to branch off into different countries. Mexico is the one that we have worked in so far, but people that build and operate power plants. It's something I didn't go to college to learn about, kind of got into after school, and it is super essential for everything we do. I mean, we power schools, homes, buildings, I mean, you name it, what we do. I mean, when Texas got all the cold weather this winter, we had to send 10 extra guys from what we already had to help with the influx of people using power in their homes. With this though, we have a lot of employees that are spending months at a time away from their family. They're not sleeping in their own bed. It's a hard job and it's hard to do. And kudos to them, because I don't think I could do it. And, talking to these guys every day, helping them with, struggles that they have with employment away from home, I've realized that a really big struggle that they have is with mental health. They're on the road, they're not around their own doctors or resources. So this kind of inspired me to create my podcast, Mental Health Happy Hour. I made this to create one resource that can lead people into multiple other resources. Every single episode is a different topic of mental health. We go through the education of the topic, our own personal stories with that experience, and then we go through ways people can take control of the things that they're struggling with in terms of the topic of that episode. So for today, I thought it'd be beneficial to go over 5 things we can do on a daily basis to help improve our mental health. So the first one is sticking to a sleep schedule. Crazy enough, a lot of us are really busy. We don't prioritize this when sleeping actually takes up about 1/3 of the time of our day. And it's really important because it helps with the essential brain functions we need on a day-to-day basis, and it allows our neurons to be able to communicate with one another. And surprisingly enough, whenever we're sleeping, our mind and body are actually pretty active, because in a recent finding, it suggested that sleep plays a housekeeping role that removes the toxins in your body that you accumulate when you're awake throughout the day. So I put 3 of, basically the struggles people deal with when trying to get more sleep, just so you can familiarize yourself with it, because there was actually a study done where 87% of people that cured their insomnia had a decrease in the depressive symptoms they were dealing with. So really, I like to think of it as sleeping kind of rejuvenates the body. And if you don't give your body enough time to properly go through that rejuvenation, you go into the next day lacking because you haven't gone through the full process. So like I said, insomnia, hypersomnia. Oh, I guess the one didn't add on to this one, but the other one is obstructive sleep apnea. So these are all things that people commonly deal with, and like I said, this can be directly linked to depression. And this is kind of a chart. It goes through the ages and then how many hours of sleep you should have. So just so a little indicator, my goal, to be honest, is 8. That doesn't always happen, but 7 is a really safe place to kind of keep that. Ooh. Okay, and then tip number 2 is getting at least 30 minutes of sunlight every day. And actually, if you're having a hard time sleeping, this can be a key to help. So whenever you're exposed to sunlight, it will basically allow you or expose you to a hormone called serotonin. And serotonin boosts your mood along with, basically it's a mood booster. And the fun thing about it that I didn't know, that I learned while doing my podcast, is the sunlight boosts your serotonin, but it also decreases your melatonin, which we all know melatonin is what helps us sleep at night. So if you get 30 minutes of sunlight, it'll turn that off, so then you have that melatonin stored for nighttime when it's time for you to go to sleep. So little things, just going on a walk, just hanging outside on your lunch break for 30 minutes can be really beneficial. Then tip number 3 is regular exercise and limiting processed food consumption. So there has been an overabundance of research showing how beneficial exercise is for your mental health. When you exercise, your body releases chemicals called endorphins, and these endorphins interact with receptors in your brain that help reduce your perception of pain and also decrease stress. So, personally, I've gotten into going to the gym and bodybuilding. It's something I really love. It's like an hour of the day that I can spend focusing on myself, but it also, like I said, it's a mood booster. I feel a lot better when I do it. But, exercise, that's what a lot of people think is going to the gym, but you can go on a walk, you can dance, you can swim. I mean, there's so many things that you can do to be active that don't require you to just go to a gym like people kind of assume. Another issue with this is the consumption of processed foods. So ultra-processed foods are linked to anxiety and depression, and with us being busy in our daily lives, it's easy to grab and go with food. We don't have a lot of time to meal prep, go to, farmers markets, getting local food that, we know where the source comes from. So basically, 70% of all packaged foods in the US are processed. And 60% of the calories consumed by the average American is from processed foods. So, these are some of the top foods that are not really beneficial for your mental health. And, foods to always gravitate towards that have been proven to boost your mood are ones that are high in fiber and low in fat. Which I apologize. I've been kind of editing this. It should be 5. It has 7 on there, so kind of ignore that. Okay, and then tip number 4, this is something that I've actually been doing a lot lately. I'm about to compete for Miss Missouri USA, so I'm trying to get into a good mindset for it. But between journaling, daily affirmations, and manifestation, I kind of put journaling and manifestation together. So every morning when I wake up, a common thing a lot of us do because our alarm's on our phone is to look at our phone, check through that, and that is the worst way to start your day, because anything negative that you see on your phone, that's going to set the mood as you continue through your day. So when I wake up, I have a journal, I write my manifestations, and what that is basically writing down the things your goals, the things you want to achieve, because basically the thought of that is you can basically write your dreams into reality by putting it down in a journal. So I'll do my manifestations and then I do daily affirmations. And that's basically just positive self-talk for yourself. I am strong, I am beautiful, I am smart, I am kind. It's very uplifting and can help your mood as well in the morning. And then to coincide with that, journaling, which I put some prompts up here to give you guys some ideas, because writing helps you declutter your mind. And for me, it helps organize my thoughts, especially when you're dealing with anxiety. One big thing that I do is the thoughts I have that are negatively affecting me, I'll write them down on paper, and when you actually see it, your mind kind of deems like, okay, this is silly. Like, this could never happen. I don't know why I'm overthinking this. So pen and paper can be a really big help to organize the thoughts that are bogging you down. And then the last tip is finding an outlet on your good and bad days. So as I mentioned, I've gotten into bodybuilding pretty heavily, and I did that just because I didn't have a reason to wake up every morning. I would go to work, I would come home, eat, and just repeat every single day. I had nothing to look forward to. I wasn't excited about anything. So I realized that was getting me nowhere. I had no excitement in my life. So I started trying hobbies, new jobs, getting involved in different things. And you have to have some grace with yourself because, you're not going to like everything you try. I did a catering business, which I loved, but transporting food in a Chevy Malibu is a little difficult. So, I got into the gym, and it got to be something that on my good days I would look forward to, but on the bad days I had, I'm like, okay, let's get through this. We can go to the gym in a little bit and just, focus on something aside from all the craziness going on in your life. You need an escape something that doesn't require you to use your brain for the things you do constantly, you know, working, being a parent, you know, dealing with other family members. I mean, we have a lot of responsibilities, but it's really important to take time out of your day to do something for yourself. And, you know, even if you don't have an hour of your day, make a goal of, you know, 4 days a week. You have something booked in your schedule that you can look forward to. You know, even if you have to block off that time and you don't know what you're going to do yet, you know, use that time to read a book or, you know, go on a walk. Just dedicate that time to yourself, because if you don't, then you're going to be forced to, you know, and that's a big thing with all of these tips is people need to start taking their mental health seriously, just as serious as like colds, flu, stomach bug, because this is just as important. I know a lot of people get burnt out, you know, can't do the things they love to do because their mental health is keeping them from doing that. So if you want to check out my podcast, it is on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. The episodes are on the website as well. I have an Instagram page, which I post all the new episodes on there, along with just mental health motivation, tips, tricks, education. Yeah, we've had a ton of awesome guests. I've had a TED Talk who's done a speech about burnout on there. I have had someone who's graduated the Retrieving Freedom program, who's gotten one of their dogs, has been on there. I have a retired firefighter. We're making an episode this week to do one over first responders. So it goes over everything from, you know, jobs you can have in mental health, from depression, high functioning anxiety. It's really just open forum. Anything involving mental health is what we do episodes on. So yeah, if you're looking for something to listen to when you're driving, check it out. And then also on the website, I have a tab that is solely just resources. I mean, crisis text lines, phone call lines. Basically, if you're struggling with something, they're categorized with links so you can find sources to be able to take control of it and be able to help yourself. And that is all I have.
What's your major in college?
So I was a political science major. That was a hard thing. So I got out of college. I was like gung-ho on law school, but I had paid for my whole college education when I was going to school. So working at APS, you know, I have a great group of people I work around. What I do is really unique. I was enjoying it, you know, so I kind of plan on going to law school a little further down the road. I want to save some money and, you know, enjoy being able to do things like this and be able to connect this with the guys I'm working with, because the cool thing about my podcast is a lot of my guys listen to it and they'll ask me about it. They'll give me ideas for episodes. So it's been really cool to coincide the two things. Yes.
On your website, you have a section for speaking engagements and fundraising. Can you share more like what your vision is for that?
Yeah, so what my plan is, and thanks to APS, I've realized how essential networking is. So in basically the plan of everything, along with the podcast, I'm planning on making mental health networking events. And this is where people can come to one spot. There's going to be small businesses, organizations, clubs, basically any way people can get involved in their community. It's all going to be allocated to one spot. So I want to make it kind of like a family picnic style, so it's not as serious. You know, networking can kind of scare a few people, but I want to allow people to see what they have in their community. It'll give them ideas of, you know, what hobbies they might be interested in, businesses they might want to start on their own. They have the ability to have conversations with these people, get involved, just because, I mean, even in Sedalia, I didn't even know that this organization met. I mean, this is awesome. And I think it's cool to be able to introduce that to people in a laxed environment where it's not as professional and they think that they have to have these conversations. They can kind of even just go walk around and see what's there, and then on their own time do more looking into it. Yeah.
And then maybe you mentioned how long you had the podcast out, and with it, remind me, and then also if had any like given success stories with I definitely can tell you're very passionate about it.
Thank you. Yeah, so in July, it'll be a full year of having these podcast episodes out. I'm actually, this Saturday, we'll have the 20th episode. We're doing mental health and social media, which is, we recorded it last night. It's a really cool episode. Oh my gosh, say the second question again. I apologize.
Have you had any,
Oh.
given success stories that you could share?
Yeah, so I still live in the college town that I went to school in, and that has been a really great opportunity to get it out in front of people. And at my gym and even at my second job, I bartend on the weekends. I've had people come up to me, and it's cool when it's people you don't even know too, because then you see who it's reaching. But I will never forget the first person who actually came up to me about it at the bar. He's like, "Your name's Alex, like you have a mental health podcast, right?" I'm like, "Oh yeah." He's like, "My girlfriend loves your podcast. Like she listens to every episode." And it was, for me, it was just a surreal moment. And then the girlfriend comes up, she's like, "Oh my gosh, like that is so cool." And just knowing that, because I do it because I want to help people avoid some of the low points I've been through. And, you know, if I can share my experiences and I find other people that want to share theirs, that's what makes it as exciting for me as it is. So yeah, I'll have people at the gym come up to me and say things. So little things like that honestly make my whole day and make me just want to do this more and more, seeing that it's actually helping people. Yeah.
So how do you spread it? How did they find it? How do people find about it?
Yeah.
Not coming to one MC. And
No, 100%. So to be honest, I put some stickers on the table. I've been just trying to get creative with marketing, you know, and you go places, and especially when you go to different cities or you travel, because I love traveling. Me and my boyfriend are big football junkies, so we actually follow the Chiefs and kind of go to different cities. And when I go, I take my stickers, and if I see all these stickers posted somewhere, I'll put my sticker on there. I give them out to people, like even at the bar if it's slow and, you know, I'm making small conversation, they'll say something about like a hobby, or I'll find some way to tie it in. I'll be like, "Oh, here's a sticker, like you should check this out." So between stickers, just talking to people about it, I even made flyers I put up at UCM and around the bar. So really just any way I've found to just market it myself, I've been trying to get it out. And then LinkedIn, as a 24-year-old, I just got onto LinkedIn probably 2 years ago, and it has been the best resource to even just find more people to speak on my podcast. Yeah, it's been an amazing resource for me for that.
Other questions? I've got the final question.
Yes.
How can we as a community help you?
I was going to say, to be honest, just talking about it more, doing more, you know, having more events, you know, when we have, because you guys have meetings, you know, just implementing mental health in little ways is just something we can do to, because that's the thing. I mean, my podcast is cool, but my goal is just to create conversation more. You know, I was watching the NBA, the finals are coming up, and they have a commercial about, you know, the players and their mental health. And to be honest, that's like one of few I've seen. And we're just starting to break the barrier and the stigma and start making this a normal thing, because we all deal with it, but nobody wants to talk about it. So, you know, little things like just throwing like, yeah, hey, if you're struggling, check out this podcast, because I want people to feel more comfortable. I want people to be able to go up to their friend, just like, "Oh, hey, what were you doing this weekend?" And be able to go up to them and be like, "Hey, like, are you doing okay? How are you feeling?" Because it's hard, but the more we make it a common thing, it'll be easier for people to do.
Thank you, Alex.
Thank you, guys.